Have you ever wondered why some women seem to grow increasingly frustrated with their husbands as the years go by? It's a reality that many long-term couples experience. What once felt like a strong bond can sometimes turn into daily irritation, silent resentment, or even outright hostility. But why does this happen? Why do so many women, after decades of marriage, find themselves feeling disconnected, exhausted, or even resentful toward the very person they once chose to spend their lives with? In this video, we're going to explore the deep-rooted reasons behind the shift from evolving emotional needs to years of unspoken frustration. There are specific patterns that cause marriages to drift into tension over time. Many of these changes happen gradually, so slowly that neither person realizes what's happening until one day the warmth is gone, replaced by resentment, frustration, or even regret. But here's the truth. Understanding these patterns can help you see things more clearly, whether it's your own marriage or someone else's. And by recognizing these signs, there's still a chance to change course, to reconnect, and to create a relationship that feels fulfilling again. Stay with me until the very end, because the reasons behind this shift might surprise you. These aren't just complaints or passing irritations. There are deeper psychological and emotional factors at play, ones that have been shaping relationships for years without people even realizing it. And by the time we're done, you may see your own marriage or even past relationships in an entirely new light. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoy this video, please type 1 in the comment. If you don't like it, type 0 in the comments to let me know so I can make better videos for you. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Years of emotional labor without appreciation. One of the biggest reasons women begin to resent their husbands as they age is the weight of emotional labor. Years of tending to the relationship, managing the household, and caring for the family, often without acknowledgement or appreciation. Emotional labor isn't just about physical tasks like cooking meals or cleaning the house. It's about the unseen mental and emotional work that holds a marriage together, remembering birthdays, keeping track of family schedules, being the one to smooth over conflicts, and always ensuring that everyone else's needs are met. These responsibilities often fall on women, and after decades of carrying this load, the exhaustion sets in. Many men assume that just because they worked hard to provide financially, they did their part. But a marriage is about far more than financial support. It's about effort, about showing up emotionally, about making a woman feel valued for everything she does. If a woman spends decades taking care of everything, handling the kids, managing the home, keeping up with social obligations, and her husband never truly sees or acknowledges that effort, resentment quietly builds. Take someone like Carol, a 72-year-old retired teacher. For years, she balanced raising 3 children, working full-time, and making sure her husband's life ran smoothly. Every holiday, she planned the meals. Every birthday, she picked out gifts. She remembered doctor's appointments, maintained friendships for the both of them, and made sure that life felt comfortable and organized. But looking back, she realized something. No one had ever done the same for her. Her husband never once asked if she needed help or thanked her for the things she did. And now, decades later, she didn't feel love anymore. She felt exhausted. What makes emotional labor so frustrating is that it's invisible. A woman can spend her entire marriage ensuring everything runs smoothly, and if her husband never acknowledges that effort, he will never understand why she has grown distant or resentful. It's not that she suddenly changed, it's that she reached her limit. There's also the issue of how appreciation changes over time. In the early years of marriage, small gestures might have been enough. A thank you here, a compliment then. But after decades of marriage, if a husband assumes that his wife will always handle everything without effort on his part, he creates a relationship where she feels more like a caretaker than a partner. And when that feeling sets in, love starts to fade, replaced by frustration and emotional exhaustion. The truth is, women don't just wake up one day and decide to resent their husbands. Resentment is built in small moments, over years of feeling unseen. And if a woman feels like her emotional contributions have gone unnoticed for decades, it's only natural that she begins to pull away. If this sounds familiar to you, or if you've ever felt unappreciated in your relationship, you are not alone. This is something many women experience, often without realizing it until years have passed. Number 2, feeling like a roommate instead of a wife. As the years go by, many women begin to feel like they are living with a roommate rather than a husband. And that shift can be incredibly painful. In the early years of marriage, there's excitement, passion, and a deep emotional connection. But over time, if both partners stop putting effort into the relationship, the romance fades, and what's left is a partnership that feels more like two people simply coexisting under the same roof. For many women, this change doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual. At first, it might just be a few missed nights, or a lack of deep conversation. Then routine sets in, the same schedules, the same patterns, the same surface-level interactions, until one day she realizes that she and her husband are no longer truly connected. They may eat meals together, they may watch TV in the same room, but the intimacy is gone. She no longer feels desired, no longer feels seen. She feels like a housemate, not a wife. Take someone like Linda, a 69-year-old retired nurse. In the early years of her marriage, she and her husband laughed together, took long walks, and shared their dreams. But over time, the conversations grew shorter. He stopped asking her how her day was. He spent more time watching TV, or sitting in silence. And eventually they began living parallel lives, together, yet separate. The worst part, he didn't even notice. To him, nothing had changed, but to Linda, everything had. This shift happens in countless marriages, because many men assume that once they are married, the work is done. They believe that simply being present in the home is enough, forgetting that relationships require ongoing effort to thrive. What they don't realize is that when a woman feels emotionally disconnected for years, it doesn't just make her feel lonely, it makes her feel resentful. Women need emotional intimacy just as much as physical intimacy. They need to feel wanted, appreciated, and engaged in meaningful conversation. A husband who stops making an effort, who stops flirting, who stops complimenting, who stops showing genuine interest, slowly turns into someone his wife resents. Because when a woman no longer feels desired, she begins to wonder, why am I even here? Another painful reality is that many women try to fix this before giving up. They bring it up, they express their needs, they ask for more connection, more affection, more attention. But if those requests are ignored, if they are met with indifference, then slowly but surely, she stops asking. And once a woman stops trying to reconnect, the emotional distance becomes permanent. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. Many women go through this, feeling the weight of an emotional gap they never expected in their marriage. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement helps me continue creating content that supports and uplifts you. Number 3, unresolved conflicts that have built up over the years. One of the most damaging reasons women begin to resent their husbands as they age is the accumulation of unresolved conflicts, small arguments, disappointments, and emotional wounds that were never truly addressed. Over time, these unresolved issues don't just disappear. They build up, creating layers of frustration that turn into deep-seated resentment. Many couples fall into the habit of ignoring problems instead of solving them. Maybe it starts with small things: a dismissive comment, a forgotten anniversary, an argument left hanging. At first, a woman might let it go, thinking it's not worth the fight. But as the years go by, those little disappointments start to pile up. A forgotten apology here, an unmet expectation there, and before long she realizes that her husband has hurt her in 1,000 small ways, none of them big enough to break the marriage on their own, but together they create a distance that feels impossible to cross. Take someone like Patricia, a 74-year-old retired accountant. She had been married for over 40 years, and on the outside, her marriage seemed stable, but inside, she carried years of resentment. She remembered every time her feelings had been dismissed, every time her needs had been minimized, every time her husband had made a promise he never followed through on. She had brought up her frustrations in the past, but they were always brushed aside with a "you're overreacting," or "that was years ago, why bring it up now?" Over time she stopped arguing, stopped expecting change, and stopped seeing her husband as someone who truly cared about her feelings. This pattern is incredibly common. Many women hold on to hurt because they never received closure, and when a man repeatedly ignores or minimizes his wife's concerns, he sends the message, whether intentional or not, that her feelings don't matter. That kind of emotional neglect builds resentment like nothing else. Another dangerous aspect of unresolved conflict is the way it changes how a woman sees her husband. At the start of a marriage, there is love, admiration, and a sense of partnership. But when conflict is never truly resolved, those positive feelings start to fade. A woman who once saw her husband as her best friend may now see him as someone who simply doesn't listen, someone who dismisses her needs, someone who, over time, has become more of an adversary than a partner. The worst part: many men don't even realize this is happening. They assume that if she's not arguing, everything must be fine. They mistake silence for peace, when in reality, silence is often a sign that a woman has given up on trying to be heard. If you've ever felt like your frustrations have been swept under the rug for years, if you found yourself thinking, "Why should I even bother bringing it up?" then know that you're not alone. This is something that countless women experience. Number 4, a shift in priorities that leaves her feeling unfulfilled. As women age, their priorities and desires evolve, often in ways their husbands fail to notice or adapt. What once felt like a fulfilling life, raising children, managing a home, or supporting a spouse's career, can start to feel like a chapter that is closed. Many women reach a stage where they want something more, whether that's deeper emotional connection, personal growth, or a new sense of independence. But when their husbands remain stuck in the same routines, unaware of these changes, it creates a painful divide. For years, many women put their own dreams and needs aside for the sake of their families. They focus on raising children, maintaining stability, and making sure everyone else is taken care of. But once the kids are grown, once the household no longer requires the same level of attention, they look around and realize something is missing. And if their husbands have not grown alongside them, if they still expect the same dynamic as when they were younger, it leaves many women feeling trapped in a life that no longer fulfills them. Take someone like Helen, a 68-year-old retired librarian. For decades her focus was on her family. She helped with school projects, planned family vacations, and put endless energy into keeping her home warm and welcoming. But now, in retirement, she found herself wanting new experiences. She wanted to travel, join social groups, take up hobbies she never had time for. But her husband preferred to sit in front of the TV every evening, uninterested in exploring anything new. Whenever she suggested doing something different, he would dismiss it, saying, "I'm happy the way things are." What he didn't realize was that she wasn't.
This is where resentment builds. A woman who spent her whole life putting others first starts to realize that no one is doing the same for her. She starts to crave a life that feels fulfilling. But if her husband refuses to engage, to evolve with her, she begins to see him as an obstacle rather than a partner. And that shift in perception is what turns mild frustration into something much deeper. The issue isn't just that priorities change, it's that many men don't recognize that change until it's too late. They assume their wives will always be content playing the same role they've played for years, failing to see that she wants more from life. Now, when a woman feels like she's outgrowing her marriage while her husband remains stagnant, it creates a level of disconnect that is almost impossible to repair unless real effort is made. Aging should be a time of new possibilities, not just routine and repetition. When women feel like they are still growing, but their husbands have stopped, the resentment isn't just about boredom. It's about feeling held back from the life they now want to live. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt like your priorities have shifted while your husband remains stuck in old habits, know that you are not alone. This is something many women experience as they age. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement helps me continue creating content that supports and uplifts you. Number 5, a lack of emotional and physical affection. One of the most painful reasons women grow resentful toward their husbands as they age is the slow but undeniable loss of both emotional and physical affection. While every marriage evolves over time, when affection fades completely, it leaves many women feeling deeply unwanted, unloved, and disconnected from the person they once felt closest to. At the beginning of a relationship, there is often warmth, hugs, kisses, small gestures of love that make a woman feel cherished. But as the years pass, many husbands grow comfortable, forgetting that affection is not just a phase of marriage, it's a necessity for keeping love alive. For some women, the moment they realized things had changed wasn't a major argument or a dramatic moment. It was simply the slow realization that the small touches, the thoughtful compliments, and the playful flirtation had disappeared. Take someone like Sharon, a 71-year-old retired secretary. She remembered when she and her husband used to hold hands while walking, when he would place a gentle hand on her back as they talked, when he would give her a warm hug, just because. But now he barely looked at her the same way. Conversations had turned into practical discussions about bills or errands. When they sat on the couch together, they felt miles apart. She had brought it up once, telling him, "I miss the way things used to be." His response, "We're too old for that now." And that was the moment she realized he didn't see the problem at all. What many men don't understand is that affection isn't just about romance. It's about emotional security. Women don't stop wanting to feel beautiful, to feel adored, to feel like they matter. When a husband stops showing affection, it doesn't just make a woman feel lonely, it makes her feel invisible. And that is one of the deepest wounds a marriage can inflict. There's also the issue of how physical intimacy changes with age. Many couples go through periods where desire naturally shifts, especially with health concerns or changing bodies. But what many women resent is not the decrease in physical intimacy, it's the lack of effort to stay emotionally connected. A husband who stops showing affection in small ways, who no longer compliments, who never initiates warmth, slowly creates a marriage where his wife no longer feels like a woman, but simply a cohabitant. And here's the hard truth. Women don't just get used to this, they start to resent it. They resent the fact that their needs have been ignored. They resent the fact that their emotional longing has been dismissed. They resent the fact that they still crave connection, but their husband has decided that affection is no longer necessary. Many women try to fix this before giving up. They hint at wanting more closeness. They bring up the lack of affection. They express their sadness. But if those concerns are brushed off, ignored, or laughed at, then eventually they stop asking. And when a woman stops asking for love, it's not because she no longer wants it. It's because she is accepted that she won't get it. And that realization slowly kills whatever feeling she had left. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt the painful loneliness of a love that no longer feels like love, know that you are not alone. This is something many women experience as they age, often in silence. Number 6. Feeling like she's taken for granted. One of the deepest sources of resentment in a long-term marriage is the feeling of being taken for granted, of giving, sacrificing, and showing love for decades, only to feel like it's no longer noticed or appreciated. Over time, many women realize that the things they once did, out of love, preparing meals, remembering special dates, supporting their husband through life's challenges, have become expectations rather than gestures of care. And when appreciation disappears, so does the warmth in a marriage. At the beginning of a relationship, there is often gratitude. A husband might say, "Thank you for making dinner," or "I appreciate how much you do for me." But as the years pass, many husbands stop acknowledging these everyday efforts, assuming that their wife will always take care of things. And that shift from being appreciated to being expected slowly turns love into resentment. Take someone like Nancy, a 72-year-old retired school principal. For years she had taken care of her household without complaint. She made sure her husband's favorite meals were on the table. She kept the home in order, scheduled appointments, and handled the little things that made their lives smoother. But over time she started to notice something. He never said thank you anymore. When she went out of her way to do something thoughtful, it was met with silence, as if it was simply her job. One day, after spending hours preparing a meal, she sat down, looked at her husband, and asked, "Do you even notice how much I do for you?" His response, a confused shrug. That was the moment she realized he had stopped seeing her efforts entirely. This feeling of being invisible in your own marriage is devastating. When a woman spends years giving and giving without ever receiving acknowledgement or reciprocity, it wears her down, and after enough time, she stops wanting to give at all. The real issue isn't just that men stop showing appreciation, it's that many of them don't realize how much their wives do in the first place. A woman who has spent her life handling the details of a household, remembering birthdays, supporting her husband emotionally, and keeping the relationship together, may seem fine on the outside, but internally she may feel exhausted, drained, and completely unappreciated. And here's the part many men don't understand. Resentment doesn't happen because of one big event. It happens because of 1,000 small moments of feeling unappreciated. When a woman no longer feels valued, she starts to emotionally withdraw. She doesn't laugh as much. She stops initiating conversations. She stops doing the little things she once did with love. Not because she wants to punish her husband, but because she simply has nothing left to give. What many husbands fail to realize is that appreciation doesn't take much. A simple thank you, an occasional "I see how much you do," or even an unexpected compliment can make a woman feel loved and noticed. But when those words disappear completely, so does the emotional connection. If you've ever felt like you're giving endlessly without receiving gratitude, if you've ever wondered whether your husband even notices all that you do, know that your feelings are valid. Many women go through this silent struggle, wondering if their efforts even matter anymore. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. Your engagement helps me continue creating content that supports and uplifts you. Number 7. Realizing that they've grown apart. One of the most heartbreaking reasons women begin to resent their husbands as they age is the realization that they have simply grown apart, that the man they once shared dreams and laughter with now feels like a stranger. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly over years of routine, neglect, and a lack of effort to stay emotionally connected. One day, a woman looks at her husband and thinks, "Who is this person?" And how did we get here? Many marriages start with deep connection, long conversations, shared goals, and the feeling of truly being partners in life. But as the years go by, life gets in the way. Careers, children, responsibilities and stress begin to take priority. And if a couple doesn't make a conscious effort to grow together, they inevitably grow apart. For many women, the first sign of the shift is a lack of meaningful conversation. They realize that they and their husband no longer talk the way they used to. Sure, they might discuss practical things, bills, family plans, daily routines, but the deeper connection is gone. The curiosity about each other's thoughts and feelings has faded. She might try to bring up something important, but instead of engaging, he brushes it off with short, indifferent responses. Over time, she stops trying. Take someone like Margaret, a 74-year-old retired social worker. When she and her husband were younger, they would stay up late talking about their dreams, their fears and their plans for the future. But now conversations had become shallow. When she asked him about his thoughts on something important, he would simply grunt in response, or turn the conversation back to the news on TV. When she tried to talk about her own personal growth or interests, he barely listened. And that's when she realized she was living with someone who no longer truly knew her. This emotional disconnect becomes even more painful when women realize that their husbands don't seem to mind, while they feel the loneliness deeply. Many men continue on as if nothing is wrong. They assume that as long as there's no major conflict, everything must be fine. But for a woman, emotional disconnection is just as painful as a full-blown argument. It makes her feel isolated, invisible, and deeply alone within her own marriage. Another common realization is that they no longer share the same interests. Over the years, many women develop new passions, hobbies, or ways of thinking, while their husbands remain exactly the same. She might want to travel, take up a new skill, or engage in deep discussions about life. But if her husband refuses to evolve with her, she starts to feel trapped in a marriage that no longer fulfills her. The most painful part: many women mourn the marriage they once had. They remember the man who used to make them laugh, who used to hold their hand without thinking, who used to care about their thoughts and dreams. But when that version of their husband disappears, they are left with someone who is physically present, but emotionally absent. And that absence is what builds resentment. Here's the truth: love isn't something that just happens. It's something that has to be maintained. And when a husband stops putting in effort, stops learning about his wife, stops choosing to stay emotionally connected, he slowly turns into a stranger in his own home. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt the quiet heartbreak of realizing that you and your husband have become distant, know that you are not alone. Many women go through this, often wondering if they are the only ones feeling this way. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 7 below to let me know you're here. Your feedback helps me continue creating content that celebrates and empowers you. Final thought: so as we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. Many women don't suddenly wake up one day and resent their husband. This feeling builds over years of unspoken frustrations, unmet emotional needs, and the slow realization that they are no longer being seen, heard, or valued. It's not always about major betrayals or dramatic fights. It's often the small, consistent disappointments that wear down a marriage over time. But here's the important thing to remember: resentment doesn't mean love is gone. It means something needs to change. Many women feel trapped in silence, believing that their emotions are too complicated to explain, or that it's too late to address these issues. But it's never too late to have honest conversations, to demand appreciation, to rekindle lost connection, or even to choose a new path forward, whatever that may look like for you. If you recognize yourself in any of these signs, know that your feelings are valid. You are not alone in this experience. Many women have gone through the exact same emotional journey, and have come out stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. The key is recognizing that you deserve to feel valued in your relationship. You always have. And you always. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these signs resonated with you the most? Have you ever experienced this kind of shift in your marriage? Share your thoughts in the comments. I truly enjoy reading your experiences and insights. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.